someone from the community. So I'll start with Ryan. Is that Ryan O'Malley? If so, can you unmute and both of you introduce yourselves? Just need you to unmute, Ryan. It's the bottom left.
Thank
there.
you.
Sure.
As if it were the first time I've ever done this. My name is Ryan O'Malley. I'm with Platt Architecture and Design, and we are representing the applicant.
Great.
Okay.
And Kurt Platt with Platt Architecture.
Okay. Welcome to both of you. Let's move on to Karen.
Hi, I'm Karen Wittenberg. I'm the homeowner.
Okay, great. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
And we have someone here named Shannon. Is there a Shannon with us?
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I am a neighbor on the street. Just curious about the project and what's going to be happening.
Okay. Do you intend on just observing here today then, or do you want to
Yes.
actually participate in the hearing? Okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, and then we have Kate Meehan from the City Planning Department. Welcome, Kate.
Yes, good morning.
Morning. All right, I need to read through our hearing script, which will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll be able to get started on talk about the actual project. So this is the March 26, 2025 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. Again, my name is David Sturkey. I'll be presiding over the hearing today. The case before us is case number ZH20250018. That's 3692 Saybrook Avenue. Purpose of the hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. Unless someone has provided testimony or written correspondence prior to this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. For our purposes here today, I'll allow the gentleman from Platt Architecture and Ms. Wittenberg to tell me about the project and make their presentation. Typically that includes background on the project, what exactly it is you're proposing to do, the zoning relief that's required that you're requesting today to complete the project, and then of course why you think that relief is appropriate. You all can orient that presentation however you would like. One of you can speak, all of you can speak. It's really up to you. If there were anyone here from the public that wanted to speak after the applicant had presented its case, I'll give them that opportunity next. I'll then turn it over to the planning department and allow Ms. Meehan if she would like to provide some testimony in addition to her staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to that testimony that was offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or make any comments. Okay, the last thing I need to do here is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, asking any questions, making any comments, really doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if you know that that's you at this point, that you know you'd like to provide something during this hearing, if you could go ahead and take yourself off of mute now. I need you to raise your right hand and to answer out loud. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone. Who's going to be taking the lead here then on the applicant's presentation as we get started? Okay, Mr. O'Malley, floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Shirky. So we are discussing the proposed project at 3692 Saybrook. As you probably saw in the materials that I submitted, this is a new home that's being proposed at the end of Saybrook Avenue. What I think is unique about this project is that it is, quite frankly, the lot. So the lot on which we are proposing this new home is triangular shaped, and so it is creating a lot of constraints with the zoning setbacks. If you look at exhibit number 3, we included an image of the proposed footprint of the home relative to the prior home that was there at the time of purchase. And as you can see, the prior home was also very significantly in nonconformance with the existing zoning setbacks. And that, frankly, it is a very tight lot. The zoning setbacks are determined by averages of adjacent properties. The adjacent properties are on rectangular lots. That creates sort of an odd and in our opinion, unreasonable standard by which we are comparing setbacks. So, as a result, this project is seeking a front variant, a setback variance of 8 feet, and then a rear setback variance of 13 feet. So as we sort of look at what the city uses in terms of the standards by which they determine whether or not a variance is appropriate, the first standard is that neither the owner nor any of its predecessors caused the nonconformity requiring a variance. So the property at 3692 Saybrook is irregularly shaped. That is just a fact. It is a triangle. As I said, the owners didn't create the shape of the property. That was what they got when they bought the property. It is what it is. As I mentioned, the previous home was in even greater nonconformity. The lot is unusual. It is what it is. So clearly, the current owners did not cause this nonconformity. The next standard is whether the project meets either of the following conditions. A, special circumstances or conditions pertaining to the subject property cause the strict application of the zoning code to be unreasonable and would result in practical difficulties. Or B, a variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right of the applicant possessed by owners of other properties in the same district or vicinity. So I would like to propose that the owners meet both conditions. First, the condition of special circumstances, the triangular lot. This basically causes a strict application of the code to be unreasonable. As we've demonstrated through the diagrams and through the exhibits and the drawings, adhering to these setbacks would create a very shallow home, a very shallow footprint. And as I noted in the letter, the owners bought this house with the intent of aging in place. So they want a single story home. They don't want to build a 2 or 3 story home. And frankly, they would have to if they were going to comply with the setbacks. So the special circumstances, as I've said, are the irregularly shaped lot. The second item, in terms of how the project meets, the second condition that the project, in my opinion, meets is other property owners enjoy similar exceptions. So I've included in our letter a number of properties that by and large also exist on irregularly shaped lots that enjoy exceptions to the variances as determined by averages. So I'd be happy to list those. I don't know if it's necessary. I think I've submitted that to you. Certainly staff can speak to that if they'd like to. So we have a situation where we've got special circumstances that have created this condition, and then we've identified neighbors that are in the same zoning district who also, because of a similar situation, irregularly shaped lots, have been allowed an exception. So in that regard, I think we meet the standards. I would just like to add a couple of things, just kind of big picture. And this is speaking as an architect and as someone that is also concerned about the quality of neighborhoods and very, very much believes, as I think Kurt and I both do, in being mindful of context, trying to build in a manner that fits within the neighborhood, fits within the street, fits within the scale of the street, matches similar setbacks. if we look at Exhibit 4, which is the neighborhood plan sightline diagram, you'll see this house is at the end of the block. So already it has a kind of diminished presence on the block. It's not, it's not in the middle of the block. It's not at the beginning of the block. So frankly, most people who live on the street don't see this house. In addition, the road actually curves at the end. It curves in the direction of 3692 of this property. So, I mean, unless you are driving towards the very end of this street, you probably won't even see this house. So yeah, yes, we acknowledge that the garage is pushed forward and does exist within the setback as determined by the zoning laws, but frankly, it's not really all that visible relative to other properties on the street. So we believe that, yes, this is in need of a variance. Yes, it's not something that we typically would propose because at our firm, we very much believe in sort of adhering to the general context of the neighborhood and the block. But we believe that in this circumstance, given that it's the very last home on the street, on the side of the street, and it's frankly not that visible, it's going to have minimal impact. It's an irregularly shaped lot. We believe for all these reasons that we've met the standards of requesting a variance and that our client should receive it.
Great, thank you. Mr. Platt or Ms. Wittenberg, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I would just throw in that I think in the past, I think when we've been able to comply with B, just one of A or B, it's where other people in the neighborhood are enjoying the same rights. That's where we've been successful with variances. And there's many homes that have the same or less or smaller front yard setbacks and rear. It's rare to find both, but both exist, and they're on these strange shaped lots primarily for the rear. But many of the homes have front yards that are similar, that are the same as this one that we're requesting. So that's just typically that's all we have had to. That's the only bridge we really had to cross. But this is a trifecta. We've written all three of them, so it seems really, yeah. That's all I have to add. Yeah.
Okay. One thing I want to clarify, does the fact that the desires for the home to be a single story increase the amount of nonconformity that is necessary? Or in other words, would it be possible to build a code compliant 2-story home on this property, in your opinion, that's practical and economically feasible?
I mean, that's an interesting question. We actually haven't even studied that. I will say that it would be a small footprint. Let me just say that. In fact, I suspect it might have to be a 3-story home.
Yeah.
Of course you can build a tiny home, blah, blah, blah. Is that realistic? Is that feasible? I don't know. I will say that it is very constraining, the setbacks as defined by zoning.
Great. Ms. Wittenberg, did you want to add anything before I moved on to Ms. Meehan?
No, thank you. I believe that Ryan and Kurt adequately represented the request for the variances. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Meehan, did you want to add anything to the conversation?
So I don't have too much to add, but I would just state that, I did kind of do a street view search of the area, and certainly we've come across lots that are not compliant with zoning in the Hyde Park area. And I did note that there are some irregular shaped lots in the nearby area that also have narrower rear yard setbacks, such as I mean, I list them in my report, but 3808 Aylesboro and 3608 Pape Avenue are just a couple of examples where they're on irregular lots and have irregular rear yard setbacks. I did also note that many of the homes that are across the street on Saybrook have narrower front yards that do not meet the current zoning. Of course, we're tasked with looking at ones on the same side of the street, but if you look across the street, those homes tend to have narrower, non-compliant front yard setbacks. I mean, I would agree with Brian's assessment. This property is at the end of the street. The house that was here previously, probably built in the 19 teens or 20s, had a non-conforming front yard setback, would not have been conforming to the zoning. So this, and again, I would agree that, you know, the shape of the lot, the you know, desire to build a home of a decent size are all, you know, very reasonable things to consider here. It's just that this is an irregular lot. It is unusual. The other lots on the street do tend to be kind of a typical rectangular, so this is an outlier. So I think that the special exception and that rear yard setback variance are warranted, given all of those conditions here.
Great, thank you, Ms. Meehan. Appreciate your testimony and your work on the staff report. I don't believe I have any more questions. I'll turn it back over to Mr. O'Malley. Did you have anything you want to say in response to Ms. Meehan's comments or in closing or otherwise before we adjourn?
No, again, I would like to thank Ms. Meehan for her assistance on this and guidance. Yeah, I don't think we have anything else to
No,
say.
I think we're
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
good. Thanks.
sure. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate Mr. O'Malley, your thorough presentation. I don't know if you were saying earlier that this is your first zoning hearing, but well done. Or first time on Zoom. Either way. Well done.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Strickey. I was actually joking that because I have done this before. I was kind of fumbling. I was fumbling with the audio, and so
He was trying to be funny, and
I
it wasn't very funny.
I didn't mean to imply.
Oh,
I've
well, if
done
you've done
this
this
just a couple-
before, then
It's
you
been a
just did
while. To
okay.
be fair, it's been a while. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Well, so yeah, I think we can leave it at that. I've had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report. I'm familiar with this area and have done many variances in the Hyde Park area and on Saybrook Avenue. Based on all of that and based on the testimony that I've heard here today, some letters of support that I received from the community, I think it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this project, particularly in light of the unusual shape of the lot, as you all pointed out. And so, again, I'm going to, based on all that, approve the application. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. I'll do whatever I can to get that out to you as soon as possible. As soon as I finish that decision, I put it in a PDF and I'll email it to everybody in the hearing here today. So you'll have a copy of it really just moments after it's complete. Ms. Meehan, of course, will be on that email as well. And when she sees that, she'll be able to approve the zoning permitting on her end, and you all can take the next steps. Any questions about any of that? Okay, great. Well, good luck with the project. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and we are adjourned.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.